Hey everyone, welcome back to Prairie Grown Reviews. Today we're doing a Halloween video. If you liked the Brooklyn Nine-Nine video, this is nothing like that. So you might not like this at all, but give it a try. So we're talking today about Werewolf by Night, which was Marvel Studios' special presentation that was all about a werewolf, and it is a riff on old Universal Monsters movies from the 1930s to the 1950s. We also watched one of those, which was 1943's Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman.
Which is a terrible title.
Should be the Wolfman meets.
It's a terrible title.
Yeah, they're flipped.
Terrible title.
But anyways, what we're going to do is, since it is an homage, it is trying to replicate certain stylistic aspects and even some of the cheesiness of that old style monster movie. We're just going to talk about a couple points that you could see comparison-wise. If you like this sort of thing, let us know in the comments. And if you want to see more like this, or if you have things you noticed, definitely leave that in the comments as well.
Like and subscribe for more.
That too, just to go all the way in. Okay, so now I'm going to talk to you about the characters, and we're going to kind of compare and contrast. So our two Wolfmen. So to talk about the one from 1943, the Wolfman meets Frankenstein, or that's how it should be called, we have Mr. Talbot, who is our Wolfman, who has no character development. He wants to die from basically the moment we meet him, and he tries to accomplish that goal because he doesn't want to hurt people. But he's also kind of pathetic and I don't know, he's a wimpy. Yeah, he's like everyone else has to do things for his character.
Yeah.
He doesn't help himself. He's always looking for another answer. He doesn't actually take any initiative. Compare that to Jack from Werewolf by Night. We see a character who's taking initiative in saving his friend Ted. We see someone who has strong goals of not hurting others. Yeah. Or that's more not goals, but a character trait. He doesn't like to hurt people, even though he's a monster hunter. And we also see that Jack is pretty much just a normal dude. He just likes doing normal things, except for when he turns into the werewolf. Whereas Mr. Talbot seems like just a weird guy. He just seems like he's this oddity dude. Comparing our two female leads, well, one, she's not really a lead in the 1943 film. She comes in with 20 minutes left in the film, maybe 30 at most, but I'd say more
40.
Yeah. And she's the Baroness Frankenstein. She's the daughter of Victor Frankenstein.
Yep.
And her role in the film is simply to kind of
Plot device.
She's a plot device. That's exactly correct. Her whole thing is she knows where her dad's diary is, and our character, Mr. Talbot, really wants to find it to kill himself, essentially. And so she kind of helps him, but she doesn't do much. She warns the doctor dude, Dr. Manning.
Yep.
Mannering, thank you, Dr. Mannering, to not to kill Frankenstein's monster, but she doesn't have any arc. Her personality is really just nothing.
Yeah.
Where we compare that with Elsa, who is nearly the main character. It's a flip of the coin between her and Jack, who you consider the main character.
Yep.
She does, I think, get a little more screen time, but they're basically neck and neck. And Elsa, she's got motivation in the sense of she wants to get the Bloodstone so she can rid herself of the burden of being a Bloodstone herself. That's her family name as well. And she also has the goal of just moving on from this life, and she wants to just be able to do as she wants and ignore her evil stepmother, and also earn the respect of the other monster hunters. I'd say is kind of just an aspect I kind of got from.
She killed everyone.
Yeah, she killed everyone.
Yeah.
And this isn't supposed to be trashing the old movie. I'm just noticing that, of course, in 1943, the female characters, unless they were a love interest, didn't exactly get a ton to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's unfortunate,
It's
but there's good
thing.
things in that movie, but I'll leave more of that up to Nat. In terms of supporting characters, in Werewolf by Night, we have Ted, who's fun, doesn't speak, growls. He's a cool-looking monster man thing from the comics. He has a small impact on the story, but overall he's a fun character. And Dr. Mannering, who for 90% of the movie is this really good, morally sound dude, and then he's nah, I want to see how powerful Frankenstein's monster can get. And so he just ignores all his morals and is I want to see the power.
Yep.
And then he briefly escapes, or narrowly escapes getting drowned.
Correct.
Now on to the story with Nathaniel.
All right, so when it comes to story, the 1943 movie definitely feels more straightforward. A lot more cuts. You can't really tell the time passing throughout the movie because we literally had to look up how many full moons
True.
are in a month, which is month per month. So the fact
That's
that full
confusing.
moon happened back to back to back made it feel like a full moon lasts like 3 or 4 days in a month, which doesn't make any sense. When it comes to the Marvel Werewolf by Night, you get a more flowy story where everything feels connected. It's not choppy. That's more of a product of the times when it comes to like storytelling. And because of what Marvel's been doing lately, it just feels like it feels more like a real movie that's been turned black and white. Whereas the monster movies were just kind of just chopped together because.
So
the
just so
limitations of the
you're
time.
aware, it was like because you can just film a movie in color and turn it black and white, but this movie was specifically filmed in black and white to replicate the because there's a difference between like if you film a movie in color and then change it to black and white, you don't get the same type of shadows and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get what you mean. Like it does still feel like modern technique.
Modern technique, and then the fact that the story
And the
doesn't
story.
feel choppy.
Yeah.
Like, there was a lot of times during like the 1943 movie where we just kind of got lost of what was happening, and there was a bunch of filler for a 1 hour movie that made no sense. There's a bunch of like random story arcs that seemed to start, but then they never got anywhere.
Yep.
Whereas the Werewolf by Night, it was one consistent story, and that was followed along all the way through.
Yep. I got to agree with you there, Nat.
Besides that, I think that's pretty much all there really was in terms of story. And then Austin here will give us final comparisons.
Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the cinematography. Seb got into it a little bit, sort of the black and white stuff. I'm going to be honest, there's not a ton of similarities here from a cinematography standpoint. The black and white obviously is similar, but the style of filming is much, much different. It's very technologically based in kind of the way they make movies now compared to the way they did then. There's a lot more cuts. It's more free-flowing, like Nat said. It feels like a movie of today.
Yeah.
So that comparison is there's not as many like one camera shots where they probably set up a camera in one corner of the room and film the whole scene. It's a lot more all over the place, which is what we're used to, but it doesn't replicate the style as much.
Well, the new movie's more dynamic.
Exactly, 100%. Our characters as well, it sort of flashes between, and there's a lot more going on. Not necessarily even from like a camera moving, but there's a lot more happening on screen in different scenes than what we saw. It's a lot more fast paced, it's more dynamic, but it's more moving pieces and stuff on the screen compared to the old one, which again is technological advancements in that sector, right? But it doesn't necessarily feel like, for anybody who feels that they replicate each one a lot cinematography, I just don't see that as the case. I don't think that's the thing. It's a cool comparison, but there's quite a few differences there in terms of the way they filmed it and how it ends up the final product on.
What about the
on screen.
werewolf makeup?
The makeup there is, again, same concept. It's a lot more advanced in this one, right? Werewolf by Night is much more detailed. It actually looks like a werewolf, right? Whereas in our 1943 movie, honestly, it's kind
I
of what you
also,
expect,
thinking
right?
back to that 1943 movie, I noticed that we only see his hands and his face. They keep him fully clothed.
That's it,
So
yeah.
that they don't have to do fur all over.
Correct.
Whereas in Werewolf by Night, yeah.
We see fur all over Jack, right?
Yeah.
And it's much more detailed. It's kind of the same concept. It's you can see the homage that's been paid there, and it's sort of a step forward, which I like, because you get a ton of people complaining that it looked like garbage if you replicated the style and the filming that they did back
I
in
don't know. If we
1943.
do Werewolf by Night in a super choppy form, it would look bad, and
Yeah.
no one would want to watch
Yeah.
that.
No, exactly. So there's room to pay to the greats, but there's also, well, that movie was not the greatest.
And yeah, that wasn't exactly great.
That was a bad example to use too, but
But yeah, we should have picked a better one. We couldn't find a better one. Maybe recommend us a better one for next Halloween.
if you recommend Frankenstein, you can also have to tell us where to get it from. Couldn't find it.
And yeah, do not just say buy it off Amazon, because I don't think any of us are like going to buy DVDs for all these. But if you have suggestions,
Or
legitimate
if you want
ones,
to send us a DVD.
or you want to send us a DVD, please just
Feel free.
feel free to do that. Send us an email or put a message in the comments. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. And happy Halloween, everyone. See you guys next time.